All right, so welcome back. We've got so we've got a new section in situational awareness by Leopold Aschenbrenner. He was involved quite a bit in the controversy of AI. I guess he was actually like legitimately fired. There was an issue between uh, the way he communicated. So you know what? Yeah. So he's really concerned about security practices in AI to the point where he thinks this does not even belong in the private sector's hands. He wants to see something called the project, where the U.S. federal government, for all its flaws, acts as a democracy and protector of the free world, and takes over development of AI. So he expressed his concerns about the security at OpenAI directly to the board, going not expressing them directly to his supervisor. So the board cracked down on the supervisor. This might have been why Sam Altman got in trouble, was for security reasons. And even more complicated, from what I saw, the memo that he sent, Leopold Aschenbrenner, might have had security violations in it. That I think that's being claimed. So he was fired by his supervisor for not communicating in the way that the supervisors wanted. As far as I know, I'm just putting the two and two together. This is not meant to be a gossip channel, so I'm just getting a better sense of who the author is, because I think it's important to understand the people in this space. Oh man, jeez, the people in this space, and the in addition to that, the biases that they hold, and kind of where people fall on the spectrum of ideas when it comes to AI, the AI space. So, Leopold Aschenbrenner falls on the spectrum of wanting the government to take control and treat it like a military project. Sam Altman probably is opposite. He wants it to remain in the private sector. I don't know, but there's also people who want AI paused so that alignment can be taken more seriously, and given more time to get things right. And then there's people who are really bullish on AI and want just as much progress to continue on in as least amount of time as possible. So, all right, but this is the final part of this here. So probably won't be able to finish it in this video, but we'll try. So this is parting thoughts. What if we're right? So I remember the spring of 1941 to this day. I realized then that a nuclear bomb was not only possible, but it was inevitable. Sooner or later, these ideas could not be particular to us or peculiar to us. Everyone would think about them before long, and some country would put them into action. And there was nobody to talk about it. I had many sleepless nights. But I did realize how very, very serious it could be, and I had then to start taking sleeping pills. It was the only remedy. I never stopped since then. It's 28 years, and I don't think I've missed a single night in all these 28 years. So this is James Chadwick. He's a physics Nobel laureate and author of the 1941 British government report on the inevitability of the atomic bomb, which finally spurred the Manhattan Project into action. Before the decade is out, we will have built super intelligence. That is what most of this series has been about. For most people I talk to in San Francisco, that's where the screen goes black. But the decade after, the 2030s, will be at least as eventful. By the end of it, the world will have been utterly, unrecognizably transformed. A new world order will have been forged. But alas, that's a story for another time. We must come to a close for now. Let me make a few final remarks. AGI realism. Oops, and I accidentally clicked on something. This is all much to contemplate, and many cannot. Deep learning is hitting a wall, they proclaim every year. It's just another tech boom, the pundits say confidently. But even among those at the San Francisco epicenter, the discourse has become polarized between two fundamentally unserious rallying cries. On the one end, there are the doomers. They have been obsessing over AGI for many years. I give them a lot of credit for their prescience, but their thinking has become ossified, untethered from the empirical realities of deep learning. Their proposals naive and unworkable, and they fail to engage with the very real authoritarian threat. Rabid claims of 99% odds of doom, calls to indefinitely pause AI. They are clearly not the way. So yeah, that's where I don't agree with the doomers and the pause. Is like, I feel like if we pause, all you're doing is giving an advantage to somebody without the morals and ethics to go along with the pause. You create a game theory situation where basically the least moral and civilized people of the world violate the pause, and now they have all the power in the world. So I feel like a pause doesn't make sense. Now the doomers will say that there's kind of ways to pause that prevent that from happening. For example, if you can put a limit on the kinds of chips being produced. There's only like NVIDIA and Taiwan Superconductor Manufacturing Corporation that are behind the fundamental technologies, really. So like now the author did spell out that China does have stuff that can operate at like A100s, and then of course there's advancements every month in this space. So I think the doomers will tell you that there are really elegant ways you can do a pause just by like limiting the chips that are being manufactured. But I mean, I'm just not sure. How what I know about the world is that I feel like it's just not that easy to dictate outcomes in that way. So if you pause that game theoretic situation where the people who are less willing and able to act in civilized ways in accordance to a system of morals and ethics now have this advantage where if they continue their transgressions against what people think is safe, they will now have all the power, which I think is a bad situation to be in. On the other end are the E/X, and I think that's more where I fall in. I'm still on the fence. I don't really have any strong opinions on this quite yet, but I think I'm more in this camp. So narrowly, they have some good points. AI progress must continue, but beneath their shallow Twitter shit posting, they are a sham. Okay, maybe I don't fall into this then. Dilettantes who just want to build their rapper startups rather than stare AGI in the face. So I'm not sure what this word is, so let's get the pronunciation and get the definition.
Dilettante.
Okay, so it's a dilettante. I definitely have heard that word before. And I apologize, my audio wasn't configured correctly, so I'll reconfigure that. Okay, so yeah, it looks good. So I just need to hit this button, hold it down. There we go. Now I'm in pairing mode, so now I can hit connect. And it connected, but it connected to the wrong device. So I have to. This used to be so much easier. I bought a new version of these headphones, and everything about them is like way different and way worse, even though it's a newer version. All right, so there we go. Like even the basic audio quality is like way worse than it used to be. I think I upgraded the Bluetooth on the old one, and I haven't done that on this new one yet. But I think I probably did something very difficult and sophisticated to do that on the old one, and I can't remember how to do that for this new one. But anyway, it's a dilettante, and I've definitely heard that word before. So let's get that back. So it's a dilettante.
Dilettante.
There, and now it should be more audible. And it means a person who cultivates an area of interest, such as the arts, without real commitment or knowledge. Oh, okay, well, I mean that's a big claim to levy against. I think people like George Holt are in the space. I know the famous one is Beth Jesus or Gilliam it starts with a V, but he's like a legitimate like physics genius who went to Perimeter Institute in Waterloo, one of the best physics schools where it's the acceptance rates is very low, so much so that if you get accepted, you get all your expenses covered. It's a college where all your expenses are covered because you're so prized and upheld as this gem of the future for your physics knowledge. So like I think that's kind of shots fired to call them dilettantes. I think George Holt and Beth Jesus are pretty it's not just that. I think they do have real commitment and knowledge. I mean, George Holt's like, for God's sakes, he does what I do. He's a little bit of a inspiration for this channel. But he does it for like 9 hours a day. Yeah, so it's like the George Holt's archive is like him. He's got like the 7-hour video where all he's doing is sitting and researching and documenting the AI chip. It's like, and then he buys like, hardware just to look into it, understand it better, and crack it. Like, I mean, come on, like, you're calling him a dilettante? Like, are you serious? Like, that is not true.
Good morning, everybody.
So I just want to see quick, what he's saying about a keyboard. Because I bought a keyboard pretty recently, so I want to see what he has to say about that. I don't see anything easy about that, so I guess I'm gonna move on from that because I don't see him talking about that. And I don't want to spend 3.5 hours talking about that. So I guess I can hit the forward arrow, or I guess I used to be able to. Oh, now so I can hit the forward arrow and see if he holds up a keyboard and talks about it. And it looks like in fact he does not. So we're gonna move on from that. But I think I made my point. It's kind of shots fired to call them dilettantes. They claim to be ardent defenders of American freedom, but can't resist the siren song of unsavory dictators' cash. In truth, they are stagnationists. In their attempt to deny the risks, they deny AGI. Essentially, all we'll get is cool chatbots, which surely aren't dangerous. That's some underwhelming acceleration in this book. So I'm not sure who he would be talking about there. He might be talking about Elon Musk. So who might the author Leopold Aschenbrenner be talking about in this paragraph? Yeah. So I mean, it's the people in the EAAC space.
Leopold Aschenbrenner is critiquing proponents of the effective accelerationism (EACC) movement in the paragraph you provided. The EACC movement advocates for the rapid, unrestrained development of artificial intelligence and other emerging technologies, believing that such progress will solve many of humanity's problems. This group includes influential figures in Silicon Valley, such as Marc Andreessen and Sam Altman, who argue that technological advancement should proceed without regulatory or safety constraints, marketing AI, and
Oh, he's talking about his boss that fired
Aschenbrenner
him.
criticizes the ACC followers for being superficial and hypocritical. He suggests that despite their vocal support for AI progress, they prioritize their own startup ventures over confronting the deeper implications and risks of AGI, artificial general intelligence. He also highlights their inconsistency by pointing out their professed support for American freedom while being swayed by lucrative opportunities from questionable sources. Group of Aladdin. Essentially, Aschenbrenner views the ACC movement as a form of stagnation in disguise, arguing that their dismissal of potential risks results in focus on relatively harmless AI applications like chatbots, rather than pushing the boundaries of what AI could achieve responsibly. Reddit.
Yeah, so, yeah. Yeah, I mean, everything about this for me is like at a surface level. So like, I don't know if I belong anywhere on this. It's just kind of, I do think that, aspects of transhumanism make sense. I feel like if you look at it, like gene editing to cure disease, like I think that's kind of a no-brainer. Okay, so... Alright, anyways, this is not a gossip channel, so let's keep reading. As I see it, the smartest people in the space have converged into a different perspective. A third way, one I will dub AGI realism. Okay, well, this is where I fall in. The core tenets are simple. So I'm going to identify as a AGI realist. And my first core tenet is superintelligence is a matter of national security. I definitely believe that. You don't have to tell me twice. We are rapidly building... Oh my god, it smells so bad in here. Is that... It's got... Sorry, I think one of my neighbors is a heavy smoker and it's leaking into my apartment. So I've got a massive $800 air ventilator that I bought, and it's not working. I mean, it could be something else, but the fact remains that there's literally nothing I can do if this air ventilator doesn't work, and it appears not to be. Maybe I could wear a mask. I don't know if that'll work for smoke. Alright, so superintelligence is a matter of national security. We are rapidly building machines smarter than the smartest humans, and believe it or not, I have a headache too, probably from that. This is not another cool Silicon Valley boom. This isn't some random community of coders writing an innocent open source software package. This isn't fun and games. Superintelligence is going to be wild, and it will be the most powerful weapon mankind has ever built. And for any of us involved, it'll be the most important thing we do. So the next thing, I believe, as the smartest people in the space, thank you, as a AGI realist, is America must lead. Yeah, you know what, I believe with that. It's easy for me to believe that. It plays all my biases as an American. So the torch of liberty will not survive Xi getting AGI first. And realistically, American leadership is the only path to safe AGI too. That means we can't simply pause. It means we need to rapidly scale up U.S. power production to build the AGI clusters in the U.S. But it also means amateur startup security delivering the nuclear secrets to the CCP won't cut it anymore. And it means the core AGI infrastructure must be controlled by America, not some dictator in the Middle East. American AI labs must put the national interest first. Okay, and then the third core belief of the AGI realist is we need to not screw it up. Recognizing the power of superintelligence also means recognizing its peril. There are very real safety risks, this all goes awry, whether it be because mankind uses the destructive power brought forth for our mutual annihilation, or because, yes, the alien species we're summoning is one we cannot yet fully control. These are manageable, but improvising won't cut it. Navigating these perils will require good people bringing a level of seriousness to the table that has not yet been offered. As the acceleration intensifies, I only expect the discourse to get more shrill. But my greatest hope is that there will be those who feel the weight of what is coming and take it as a solemn a call to duty. So I'm kind of doing that. I'm trying to get into the data center space, which is where this happens. Yeah. What if we're right? At this point, you might think, sorry, I'm right out. I work outside a window, and it's a pretty populated apartment complex. There's lots of people going back and forth, and sometimes there's things outside the window that are a little bit distracting. Gonna keep going here. So what if we're right? At this point, you may think that I and all the other San Francisco folk are. And let me clarify that, because if you're, I don't know who could be, but if you're a fan of the channel and have been with me since the beginning, you'll know that I witnessed a murder outside my window, and I also witnessed a car accident, right outside my window, and the sound of the crunching car was actually in my video, and of course my reaction to the car accident was too. This was nothing like that. It's just I think one of my neighbors might literally be an international supermodel. Alright, at this point, you may think that I and all other SF folk are totally crazy. But consider just for a moment, what if they're right? These are the people who invented and built this technology. They think AGI will be developed this decade, and though there's a fairly wide spectrum, many of them take very seriously the possibility that the road to superintelligence will play out as I've described in this series. Almost certainly, I've gotten important parts of the story wrong. If reality turns out to be anywhere near this crazy, the error bars will be very large. Moreover, as I said at the outset, I think there's a wide range of possibilities, but I think it is important to be concrete. And in this series, I've laid out what I currently believe is the single most likely scenario for the rest of the decade. The rest of this decade, yeah. So the single most likely scenario is that there will be the project. The advancement of AI will be so, mind-boggling that eventually the U.S. government will wake up to the fact that this is like the next atom bomb, and they'll basically shut down the private development of it and start to do it with the security that they have afforded by the U.S. military. Because it's starting to feel very real. A few years ago, at least for me, I took these ideas seriously, but they were abstract, quarantined in models and probability estimates. Now it feels extremely visceral, and it does to me too. ChatGPT, I mean, it's unbelievable. I can see it. I can see how AGI will be built. It's no longer about estimates of human brain size and hypotheticals and theoretical extrapolations and all that. I can basically tell you the cluster AGI will be trained on and when it will be built, the rough combination of algorithms we'll use, the unsolved problems and the path to solving them, the list of people that will matter. I can see it. It is extremely visceral. Sure, going all in leveraged long NVIDIA in early 2023 has been great and all, but the burdens of history are heavy. I would not choose this. But the scariest realization is that there is no crack team coming to handle this. Yeah, and I think we all felt that really viscerally during the pandemic. It's just even the most competent entity you can imagine probably really isn't all that competent. As a kid, like even the like open AI, there's a lot of drama there. It seems like, and it's just there is no crack team coming to handle this. As a kid, you have this glorified view of the world that when things get real, there are the heroic scientists. I think that was meant to be Anthony Fauci. I'm not sure if he completely lived up to that. His voice gave out at the beginning, so he had a really hoarse, hard to understand voice, and then he kind of flip-flopped on some things. And I think he particularly told people, I can't remember. Let me ask the ChatGPT. So, did Anthony Fauci deliberately tell people not to do something in like a misinformation sort of way to try to like, manipulate like supply chains or whatever? I think this happened. I forget what it was. I think it was for masks. Yeah, he deliberately told people not to wear masks because,
There's no substantial evidence to support the claim the doctor.
Well, no. Hold on a second. Yeah. See, so it says so this is what happened. So early in COVID, they recommended against widespread masks. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so everything's going crazy, and now my chat was deleted. So when Anthony Fauci told people not to wear masks, Anthony Fauci during the pandemic, when he told people not to wear masks, was this really based on the data, or was this a strategy to try to preserve personal protective equipment for medical workers so that there wasn't a rush on the supply for personal people who didn't need them as much? Did he deliberately give people misinformation about masks, but do it in a way that was morally justifiable?
During the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic drive, Anthony Fauci, along with other health officials, initially advised the general public not to wear masks. This guidance has been the subject of considerable discussion and analysis. There were two primary reasons for this early recommendation: lack of data on asymptomatic spread. At the beginning of the pandemic, the understanding of COVID-19 transmission was still evolving. Initially, there was less emphasis on the role of asymptomatic spread, which influenced the recommendations.
Yeah.
As more data became available, it became clear that asymptomatic and pre-symptomatic individuals significantly contribute to the spread of the virus. PPE supply concerns. A critical factor in the initial guidance against widespread mask usage was the severe shortage of personal protective equipment.
No,
PPE.
it wasn't about data.
There was a significant concern that encouraging the general public to buy and use masks would exacerbate the shortage of masks and other PPE for healthcare workers who are at the highest risk and desperately needed these supplies to safely treat COVID-19 patients.
Yeah.
This concern was articulated by Dr. Fauci and other officials. As the understanding of COVID-19 transmission evolved and supply chain issues were addressed, public health guidance was updated to recommend mask wearing for the general public to help reduce the spread of the virus. Dr. Fauci has acknowledged the PPE supply issue as a factor in the early guidance and has explained.
Yeah, but it would have been better in hindsight to just tell people that masks are really important, right? Because, he had to like flip the populace to being like, oh, I don't need to wear masks, to like, oh, now I have to wear a mask and it's really inconvenient and I hate it. So like it would have been a lot easier to be upfront with people that, they might have to wear masks.
In hindsight, many argue that it would have been more effective to communicate the importance of masks from the beginning, even if it meant explaining the nuances and constraints related to PPE shortages. Transparent communication might have helped build public trust and made the later transition to mask mandates smoother.
Yeah,
However,
definitely
several
would
factors
have.
complicated this approach. Evolving science. At the pandemic's outset, the scientific understanding of COVID-19 was rapidly evolving. Public health officials were cautious about making recommendations based on incomplete or evolving data. Initial uncertainty about the effectiveness of masks, especially cloth masks, contributed to the early guidance. PPE.
Yeah, but at the same time, there was that crazy toilet paper rush. So like, people might have been hoarding masks and like, trying to upsell them and stuff. So it was just a difficult situation. Basically, the reason I'm talking about this is because I'm reading a book and it's saying that there's going to be a scary realization during AI development that there's no crack team coming to handle it, coming to save the world. And as a kid, you have this glorified view of the world that when things get real, there are heroic scientists, the uber competent military men, the calm leaders who are on it, who will save the day. But as an adult, you learn that this absolutely is not so. The world is incredibly small. When the facade comes off, it's usually just a few folks behind the scenes who are the live players who are desperately trying to keep things from falling apart and basically barely have enough of what they need to be successful.
Your reflections on the pandemic and the challenges of public health communication resonate with the broader theme you're exploring in your book. The idea that there is no crack team coming to save the day in the face of complex global challenges is a sobering realization for many. This understanding highlights several critical points about how we approach and manage crises, whether they are pandemics or the development and deployment of AI, complexity and uncertainty. Both public health emergencies and AI development involve high degrees of complexity and uncertainty. The rapidly changing nature of these fields means that even the best experts often have to make decisions based on incomplete information, balancing competing priorities and risks. Resource limitations. Just as the early days of the pandemic were marked by shortages of PPE, efforts to manage and regulate AI may face similar constraints in terms of expertise, funding, and infrastructure. The realization that resources are often limited underscores the need for strategic prioritization and efficient use of what is available. Human factors. The idea that behind every major response effort there are just a few folks behind the scenes underscores the human element in crisis management.
Yeah.
These individuals are subject to the same limitations and imperfections as anyone else, yet their decisions can have profound impacts. Recognizing this can foster a more realistic appreciation of their efforts and the challenges they face.
And a lot of times they're like
Transparency and
bothered.
communication. Effective crisis management relies heavily on transparent
Like
communication.
no one takes them seriously.
As seen during the pandemic, clear and honest messaging about the nature of the threat, the reasons behind certain recommendations, and the evolving understanding of the situation can help build public trust and cooperation.
And
This
their
is equally
car
important in
breaks
AI governance,
down.
where understanding and addressing public concerns and misconceptions is crucial. Collective responsibility.
There's
The notion that there is no
fucking
singular team hero
secondhand
ready to
smoke
save the
in
day
their
reinforces the
apartment.
idea of collective responsibility. In both pandemics and AI development, a broad range of stakeholders, including governments, organizations, and individuals, must work together to navigate challenges and mitigate risks. Collaborative efforts and shared responsibility can help distribute the burden and increase the chances of successful outcomes. Realistic optimism. While it's disheartening to realize that there are no guaranteed saviors, it's also an opportunity to cultivate realistic optimism. By acknowledging the limitations and working within them, we can focus on pragmatic solutions and incremental progress. This mindset encourages resilience and adaptability, which are essential in managing both public health crises and the ethical challenges of AI. The lessons learned from the pandemic can inform our approach to AI and other emerging challenges. By fostering a culture of transparency, collaboration, and realistic expectations, we can better prepare for the complex and uncertain future we face.
All right, so that sounds good. So yeah, moving on. So now we have, right now there's perhaps a few hundred people in the world who realize what's about to hit us. Hey, 101. I'm a believer now. I'm an AGI realist. I'm the smartest of the smart, according to the author who was fired from OpenAI. Okay. Who understand just how crazy things are about to get, who have situational awareness. I probably either personally know or am 1 degree of separation from everyone who could plausibly run the project. The few folks behind the scenes who are desperately trying to keep things from falling apart are you and your buddies and their buddies. That's it. That's all there is. Okay, so he's trying to give us a perspective. He's a Columbia grad valedictorian, but in the end, he's still just a person like you and I, and you can think of it that way. He doesn't have total, complete faith and confidence in the people he knows, even as a whiz kid prodigy, valedictorian, Ivy League, former employee of OpenAI, and yeah, that's important to realize. There's no crack team coming to save the world. Things will get messy, just like they were during the pandemic. Someday it will be out of our hands, but right now, at least for the next few years of mid-game, the fate of the world rests on these people. Will the free world prevail? Will we tame superintelligence, or will it tame us? I'll tell you right now, it's already taming me. It's helping me study for the CCMP. Will humanity skirt self-destruction once more? The stakes are no less. These are great and honorable people, but they are just people. Soon the AIs will be running the world, and we're in for one last rodeo. May their final stewardship bring honor to mankind. So yeah, if they choke on a peanut and die, we're like, now we're even less capable of handling this. So in the end, and not even if they choke on a peanut, it's like if they are in a bad mood because there's secondhand smoke bleeding into their apartment, it's like, it's really precarious. So here's the appendix. These are additional details on the back of the envelope, calculations. I don't really care about this. My goal isn't to be a AI researcher. It's to position my current career into a more valuable space. So like the data center space, I think I'm really well suited for that. Making a complete pivot, I think would be hard. Most AI researchers have PhDs from prestigious schools. I could try to go down that route, but it would take me years and years. It would take me a matter of months just to slightly pivot my current career, which is going fairly well. I took a big hit in 2023, but beyond that, I was well positioned to take that hit, and then I haven't intelligently orientated myself into the most valuable spaces. I just kind of studied what I studied based on the job I had, and I didn't really. I didn't have the channel at the beginning where I was reading stuff, books and stuff. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm an AGI realist. So I'm trying to do what I can to take advantage of that. The obvious thing I can do is pivot my career to take more advantage of this multi-trillion-dollar data center industry that's going to pop up over the next few years, and it's with a T. It's not multi-billion. It's already a multi-billion. It's already $100 billion space. So pivoting it right now would make a lot of sense. If you look at job postings, there's all kinds of data center job postings out there. So it's just going to get more and more and more as the project starts to become a reality. So. This is the final page, 165. That's when I go down to the next page. It just takes me back to the prior page. So I don't need to look at this because this is all really specific things to AI research. I don't care about that so much. So so finished it out. Big accomplishment. So what made the USA? So what will I do next? So the next thing is going to be, and I can't add it to the finished reading, but the next thing is the CCMP core. Absolutely essential that I get through that to position myself to be valuable in the data center space, which will be a multi-trillion-dollar space in the next few years. It's already a $100 billion space or more. In my prior field. Which was so I went for the JNCI ESP service provider space, and there's one of the main companies, Spectrum Enterprise, put out an announcement saying they're going to spend $2 billion. Wah wah. So you can see how important it is to position yourself where the money is. So as part of invested more than $2 billion. Hey, congratulations! You want a cookie? It's going to be $1 trillion space in data centers in a few years. So a service provider, it'll grow, sure, certainly if it's adjacent to that, but if you're left behind struggling, why can't I find any work? Why doesn't anyone have any money to hire me full time? Anything like that? Well, it's because there's no money in this space. So I feel like I've made that mistake before. So I don't want to make that mistake again. So that's what's coming next. But yeah. So this series is finished. This is the last one. So thanks for coming along with this wild ride. I hope you're AI pilled now. I hope you're an AGI realist, despite the fact that we've read just from one person in the space, and we might be better off getting a variety of opinions. I know Eliezer Yudkowsky himself is highly respected. He's a little bit of a he's self-educated, which is one of the things I kind of like about him, to be honest. I respect that he's such a prolific autodidact, but that might be a reason why he's not quite taking it as seriously. He's actually a complete college dropout, as far as I know. So, he's an autodidact. He did not attend high school or college, so sometimes I think it's hard for him to get a seat at the table. But we might read some more from different people on the spectrum of this, but for now I've really got to hone in on the CCMP. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next series, going all in on the CCMP.